Whether you are in this sanctuary or joining us online, you are enthusiastically welcome today. We hope that in this congregation and sacred space, wherever it may be for you, you will be strengthened by spiritual encouragement and find comfort and connection from those who join with you in worship. As we enter this time, I ask that you please check that your cell phones are silenced or turned off. That bustle says that this is good that it's in here. Whether you are new to this congregation or have been coming for years, you are welcomed with love. If you're in person, you're invited to stop by the welcome table in the vestibule. If you would like to learn more about Unitarian Universalism as a whole or this congregation in particular. I also encourage everyone to go online and check out our website, our Facebook, and Instagram pages. At this time, we'd like to invite any folks who are visiting or who have been away from us for a while to introduce or reintroduce yourselves if you're comfortable doing so. So I invite, if you feel comfortable, to stand and introduce yourself so we can welcome you further. Any visitors today? Hello. Hi, Andrew Mitchell. I'm so glad you're here. Yay. Anybody else? Oh, wait, we're over here first, and then we'll get over here. It's exciting. Hi, Carolyn. And what was your name? Lisa. Carolyn and Lisa, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And then we have the man in the fantastic shirt in the back.
Thank you. My name is Mike Henson, a resident of Wilmington for 6 days.
6 whole days. Well, we're really glad that you're here.
18 years in Durham and just moved to be close to family.
Mike Henson, welcome. So it is a Henson connection. Okay. I love it. And back over here. Well done, well done.
I'm Mickey Pardue. I'm a longtime friend, childhood friend of Gail, and I'm visiting from Oregon.
I'm so glad you're here. Did you say Mickey with an M?
Yes.
Okay, Mickey. This time? Mickey, it's so nice to meet you, and I'm so glad you're here. Yay! Anybody else feel comfortable introducing yourselves? Well, regardless, you all are so welcome. All right. Oh. Who? Oh, okay, good. We're good. All right. We have a weekly digest that comes out via email every Thursday. It is a fantastic source of information. You can find announcements for the activities happening in our congregation. If you are not getting the digest and you would like to receive it, please stop by the welcome table. You can also view past digests on our website using the About and the newsletter link. It's just very helpful to see what we've been about. There's also a calendar of events posted on the wall on your way to Dobkin Hall. Dobkin Hall is our fellowship hall at the back of the building. I would like to share a congratulations and a thank you for our democracy and voting rights team for inspiring not only our own congregational members, but also UU congregations around the state. Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson invited Michael Sheridan to speak at the North Carolina UU The Vote launch on May 14th for UU congregations around the state. Michael spoke about what we are doing and has received many requests to share information so others can model their campaigns after us. So I'm going to list some names and then we're going to share some gratitude. So a thank you to Dan Wheat Rivers, Cammie O'Keefe, Beth Hansen, Pam Cook, Gail Wisniewski, Pat Wilkie, Twink Barr, Jennifer DeLong White, and Michael Sheridan. I'd now like to invite Robin Rame up, who we didn't discuss this again, but she has an announcement for us.
Good morning. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, gosh. Next week. Next week. The next time we are here, we're having our flower communion. And so this is a tradition of UU congregations around the world. And part of that is everyone brings in a flower and they receive a different flower to take home with them. So this can be out of your yard, it can be a wildflower, it can be from a store, whatever you so choose. But coming next Sunday, please bring a flower. Thank you.
On April 28th, we were so happy to have a longtime member, Martha Folda, who visited us from out of state. During our service that was led by the Settled Minister Search Team, afterwards she wrote us an incredible letter where she said that what she witnessed that morning was nothing short of extraordinary. She was treated to reports and descriptions of decisions and changes and challenges and victories, and that she found the energy and vitality in the sanctuary palpable. It's with this same hope and enjoyment and excitement and confidence for this congregation's future that the Board of Trustees is holding our special congregational meeting after today's service at 11:45. We will be voting on calling Alyssa Lee as our new settled minister. The vote will be conducted with paper ballots for privacy. Remote participation via Zoom is allowed and able to be used with our Sunday morning worship link. However, if there are any technical problems that prevent the remote participation, the meeting will continue as long as we have a quorum. Please try to attend in person if you are able. All members are encouraged to stay and attend this important meeting. Members joining us via Zoom will need to log out after the service and then rejoin the Zoom to attend the meeting and vote.
Hello and good morning. My name is Alyssa Lee. My pronouns are she or they, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Before we get started, I just want to say how much I'm just loving the wonderful sounds of life that I'm hearing, especially the children. And it's the sound of a healthy and thriving congregation. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you all today. This week has been full of conversations about who we are both individually and who we could be collectively. Conversations about our hopes, our dreams for the future. And today we stand on the precipice of a possible future together. This is a time that can be both scary and exciting, nerve-wracking and exhilarating. Let us take time together to dream of our future, but also relish what has been built by those who came before us, the connections that have been forged in this special place, and the bonds that will carry us forward as we imagine what the future might hold for all of us here. Let us now begin our worship.
Somebody
That was lovely. Thank you to the choir. Please join me in the unison chalice lighting in your order of service as our friends Tilly and Tessa light our chalice. Our author is unknown. This comes from the UUA Worship Web. Yesterday, our distant ancestors gathered round a flame to share their stories and find comfort. Tomorrow, our descendants will gather round a flame, talking of a life we will never know. But today, it is we who gather here around this flame, seeking, believing, and being together. Special thanks to our chalice lighters. You all did a great job. Please join me for our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. I have a little bit of a note. In my ministerial internship site in Wayland, Mass., we had we had kind of a tradition where whenever we sang, "Today will be a joyful day," we all went on our tip tops. So I'd love to hear that. So if you're able to, please rise in body or spirit and join me. I'd like to invite our younger friends, or also young at heart, come grab your pillows and come join me for a brief story. So this book, everyone hear me okay? Okay, this book is What Do You Do with an Idea by Kobe Yamada. Have any of you read this? Have you? Awesome. You've got a Komodo dragon shirt. Very cool. You have too? Well, you'll have to show us the ropes then. Okay. One day I had an idea. Where did it come from? Why is it here? I wondered, what do you do with an idea? At first, I didn't think much of it. It seemed kind of strange and fragile. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just walked away from it. I acted like it didn't belong to me. But it followed me. I worried what others would think. What would people say about my idea? I kept it to myself. I hid it away and didn't talk about it. I tried to act like everything was the same as it was before my idea showed up. But there was something magical about my idea, I had to admit. I felt better and happier when it was around. It wanted food, it wanted to play. Actually, it wanted a lot of attention. It grew bigger, and we became friends. I showed it to other people even though I was afraid of what they would say. I was afraid that if people saw it, they would laugh at it. I was afraid they would think it was silly. And many of them did. They said it was no good. They said it was too weird. They said it was a waste of time and that it would never become anything. And at first, I believed them. I actually thought about giving up on my idea. I almost listened to them. But then I realized, what do they really know? This is my idea, I thought. No one knows it like I do, and it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little crazy. I decided to protect it, to care for it. I fed it good food. I worked with it. I played with it. But most of all, I gave it my attention. My idea grew and grew, and so did my love for it. I built it a new house, one with an open roof where it could look up at the stars, a place where it could be safe to dream. I liked being with my idea. It made me feel more alive, like I could do anything. It encouraged me to think big and then to think bigger. It shared its secrets with me. It showed me how to walk on my hands because it said, it's good to have the ability to see things differently. Can any of you walk on your hands? No, let's not do it now, just ask. I can't. I couldn't imagine my life without it. Then one day, something amazing happened. My idea changed right before my very eyes. It spread its wing, took flight, and burst into the sky. I don't know how to describe it, but it went from being here to being everywhere. It wasn't just a part of me anymore. It was now a part of everything. And then I realized what you do with an idea. You change the world. Yeah. Yeah. So question for you all. So today we're talking about the future and our dreams for the future. So I'd love to hear about your dreams for the future, either for this place, for your own life. Tell me, what are your big ideas? Anyone have any big ideas or dreams they want to talk about? Yes. Really? Saw some dreams that are real? That's cool. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for sharing this time with me. So I think we'll release you now to your classes. If you all will join me in number 413, Go Now in Peace. Thank you all so much for joining us. Go now in peace, go now in peace. So we now have 4 or 5 seats up at the front that are very comfortable. If anybody in the back folding chairs would like to shift to the front. We won't all stare at you, I promise. We'll redo the reading. Okay, so the reading today is actually from a webcomic called The Oatmeal. Is anyone familiar with it? There you go, by Matthew Inman. I will tell you a little bit of a warning if you're nervous about airplanes. I'm sorry in advance. Okay. Here we go. On June 18th, 1947, on a Pan Am flight from Calcutta to New York, an engine stopped working, which caused another engine to overheat, which caused a fire, which caused a panic. While the pilot attempted to land the plane, the 25-year-old co-pilot unbuckled himself. He went into the main cabin to help with the passengers. He sat next to a young woman who was alone. He told her it was gonna be okay. He told her this as he watched the engine continue to burn. He told her this as he watched it fall from the wing. He told her this as the fuel lines became exposed. Fire overtook the aircraft, and the plane pitched downward. He told her this knowing that every single person on that plane was about to die. The plane hit hard, crashing into the Syrian desert. 14 people died instantly. 2 crew members survived, including the co-pilot. And with a pair of broken ribs, he went back into the burning plane, pulling survivors from the wreckage. Eventually, the wind turned and fire overtook the aircraft, and so they waited. Morning arrived, but a rescue did not, and the co-pilot took charge and formed 2 search parties. The first party went in one direction. The second party, along with the co-pilot, went in the other direction, wandering into the desert. They eventually found a village which had a radio, and a call was made, and the 22 survivors were rescued. As for the co-pilot, the crash changed him. After that, he didn't want to be a pilot anymore. He wanted to do something different with his life. He resigned from Pan Am to pursue a career in writing and ultimately television. His name was Gene Roddenberry, and he created Star Trek. This story is not intended as an ode to Roddenberry, although he certainly deserves one. Prior to working in television, he was a decorated World War II pilot, a plane crash investigator, and an LA cop. He survived 3 plane crashes. This story is intended to remind you that our journeys are short. Roddenberry saw life's ephemeral nature lit up against a backdrop of stars. He saw that we are all passengers pitching downward into the night. He saw that we are all helpless. So get up and help someone.
We take time in our weekly services to participate in a ritual. It's a ritual to mark the joys and the sorrows in our lives. We do so by inviting everyone who would like to either come forward and light a candle in our joys and concerns box, or to place a shell or a river stone in the fountain to your left. If you're online, please feel free to enter your personal joys and concerns in the chat box. As our friends come forward, let us sing our compassion to them with hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Stir
please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's all take a deep breath in and out. Let's take another deep breath in and out. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery that calls us home to our true selves. Who are you? Who are we? Who can we be together? These are the questions swirling around us now. We are excited, we are joyful, but perhaps we are also a little anxious, a little nervous. Today is another part of our collective story, but will it be a chapter, a footnote, perhaps even a Russian novel? And will that story continue after us? We are likely feeling a lot of emotions this morning. May we feel all of them. May we embrace all of them. May we relish in all of them. May we look with gratitude on this moment that we get to decide our own fate. We get to plan the future for ourselves and this beloved community that now surrounds us. Now let us take a brief moment to rest in the stillness of this place and to ponder the future we imagine for ourselves and for this congregation. Amen, and may it be so. There's a philosophy that is integral to the Haudenosaunee people called the seventh generation philosophy. It's this notion that when you think about the welfare of your people, you don't think solely of yourself or your family or even your own generation, but you make decisions on behalf of 7 generations coming after you. Rick Hill Sr., chair of the Haudenosaunee Standing Committee, said, "It's the idea that we are connected to a community that transcends time." Imagine how our world might be shaped and transformed if we thought of our community, not just as those who live amongst us here and now, but if we saw it within the context of an invisible thread joining us with those that will come after us. Many of us might sometimes imagine potential future grandchildren, but 7 generations? Some of you may be wondering, how is this even possible? How can we even begin to think about the lives of 7 generations of people that would come after us at the current rate technology moves? And maybe logically, we can't truly know what their lives will actually be like, but we can imagine, we can dream. And we can use those imaginings as the basis for how we move forward as individuals, as a culture, and even as a congregation. You may also be wondering why in this service I decided to read a webcomic about a major occurrence in the life of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, a popular TV show that has spawned a multitude of movies and TV shows continuing the story of human beings setting out to explore strange new worlds and to seek out new life and new civilizations. Does anyone else know this? And to boldly go where no one has gone before. Yeah, I knew I'd have a few people. Yes, thank you. It's because Roddenberry once stood before a precipice, somewhat similar, though significantly less dramatically, to where we are now. And he made a decision to make a major change, to make of his life something different than what he'd been living before. And in doing so, he changed the landscape of our culture. When he made that pivotal decision for his own life, Roddenberry taught many of us in the process to dream bigger, to think of what the future could be rather than what they thought it would be. A future that welcomed people from all reaches of the galaxy, a future with a peaceful Earth that had moved beyond money and in which food insecurity no longer exists. Writer, activist, and facilitator Adrienne Marie Brown writes frequently about science fiction and its impact on her work and other dreamers of the future. She says, all organizing is science fiction. That's because we're changing the future into something we have not yet experienced. Brown also says, with respect to science fiction, we are imagining a world we have never seen before, writing it into existence with words and with actions. As she says, we are bending the future together. I'm a big fan of science fiction, and that's largely because it introduces us to a life or mode of being that we hadn't thought possible. And while it is true that much of science fiction can be apocalyptic, which I do like less, some of it can also demonstrate the capacity of the human spirit to dream big about who we are and how we can change our environment. There's a song we sometimes sing at my current congregation in Massachusetts that says, "We make the future to our design." These creators of science fiction are reminding us of that capacity for design, for living into the world of our own belief. But the first step toward designing our future is to open our minds and dream what is possible, and perhaps to even expect it to occur. To project ourselves into the future and envision what we want it to look like. In the poem For the Future, Wendell Berry writes, "Planting trees early in the spring, we make a place for birds to sing. In time to come, how do we know? They are singing here now. There is no other guarantee that singing will ever be." I've been thinking of this poem quite a bit this week as I've walked from the nearby Airbnb to meet with many of you at the church building here. I've heard the birds singing in the surrounding trees and reflected on gratitude of those who plant the trees, even though they would likely never get to see them in their fullness, never get to hear the birds call out to them on a beautiful spring morning such as this. Yet they envisioned the birds would one day come. They knew there would be no guarantee that the birds would arrive unless they planted these trees. Similar to the people who created the fellowship that this congregation sprang forth from, and the people who built this building in which we now worship. They hoped for what was possible and took a chance, and even possibly a risk, to see it one day come to fruition, and it certainly has. During these walks, I also thought a lot about the future we might want to build here together. What might that look like, and how will that be done? And who will we be at the end of this? One of the things that is exciting to me is that we get to create a new model for what being a people of faith, people who belong to a storied religious tradition can mean. And we get to do it on our own terms. We get to show the people in the community surrounding us and in the state what being truly welcome, inclusive, and pluralistic can mean. But while that can be an exciting proposition, it can also feel a little risky and maybe even a little scary. Last year, I went to a conference for Black clergy and lay leaders that was primarily Christian. They had several student sessions that I attended since I was still in seminary. And it was an amazing experience, but I think the only UUs in attendance out of 1,200 people were the 7 or so that came with me with our UU seminary. During one of our student discussions, I said something about the distinct challenges UU congregations face as our members and friends were from a wide swath of religious beliefs, many of whom did not believe in a theistic God and held more pagan, humanist, or atheist views. Afterwards, my seminary classmates were horrified that I outed us as a group of non-Christians in a sea of Christian clergy and lay leaders. But I pushed back. If we as UU ministers in training cannot even proclaim our values widely in public, how can we have that same expectation of the members of our congregations? And how can we expect people to give us space in the public square to allow us to conjure up a moral vision that is separate and apart from Christian nationalism? How can we show people that there are liberal faiths out there that are welcoming people from a multitude of backgrounds and with a variety of spiritual and theological beliefs if we won't even own it ourselves? If we won't write ourselves into the discourse, into the future? I don't know about all of you, but when I found the UU faith, it was a revelation. You mean I can go to church and not have to hide my doubts about Jesus and God? I can talk about my political beliefs and not be shunned or called a sinner? I worry that too often when the world is hearing people of faith speak, they are hearing from one group, and they're not us. But as a religious community, we have the opportunity to step into the light and take up space during discussions of religious morality. We have the opportunity to dream about the future we can look like when people of faith say, actually, we do welcome all people. And in fact, as many UU churches around the country elect to say on most Sundays, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you love, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. The first time I heard those words were the Sunday after the election in 2016. Yeah, it was very powerful. Our interim minister in Oklahoma City said them at the beginning of the service, and we all just cheered, and many of us teared up. And I didn't realize until that moment how desperately I needed to belong to a place that held true to these beliefs, that saw love at the center of our faith and celebrated inherent worth and dignity in all beings. As a faith, we are forging a new way of being together. We have seen a future that centers people from all walks of life, and we have seen that it can be beautiful. Now, we are not where we need to be, not even by a long shot. But perhaps if we let go of the old ways of being and open our minds to what could be possible, we might get there someday. We might experience the future that many of us can only dream of. I heard an interview with the writer of Caste, Isabel Wilkerson, in which she said that doing social justice work is like being part of a bucket brigade during a fire. You might be in the middle of a long line of people taking the bucket of water and giving it to the next person. And you may never see the fire go out, but that line of people needed you. The fire would never have gone out if you weren't there to help carry that water and envision a future in which the fire would go out. Perhaps we can expand this analogy even wider to encompass all that we do here in a myriad of ways regarding inclusivity, welcome, justice, and love. Many of us may never witness the fruits of our imagination, but perhaps our children, grandchildren, or the 7 generations that come after us will. This week, we've done a lot of talking about our future as a community and how we might shape it. And I'm excited to see how we grow and change throughout our time together. We have the capacity to design the future of this place, the future of each other, and the future of this community. Let's hope that in doing so, we have the courage to take up space with each other, standing side by side, to own our beliefs and to speak them freely and with conviction, and to claim our spot and the line of buckets. Amen, and may it be so. Thank you. I hope you'll join us for our next hymn. It's in your teal hymnal, number 1020, Wo Ya Ya. Please rise in body or spirit.
Not bad, y'all. The excitement after an unknown hymn. Thanks to your generosity, we recently donated $726.33 to the Plastic Ocean Project. This week's Share the Plate recipient is the Cameron Art Museum Kids at Camp program. Local teaching artists and museum staff offer a variety of half-day, week-long camps that allow kids ages 5 through their teens to explore numerous art forms. Y'all aren't ready for this list. Camps include mixed media, printmaking, sculpture, gnome gardens, cartooning, prop and costume creation, papier-mâché masks, watercolors, ceramics, drawing fantasy creatures, painting pop surrealism, making musical instruments, creating with recycled materials, fiber arts, puppets, and the list goes on. Doesn't it make you want to be a kid again? For $145, a week of camp includes instruction, materials, museum and grounds access, and an art party to share creations with friends and family. For some family, the cost is prohibitive given their already stretched budgets. Our donation will provide several weeks of scholarships for kids who could only dream of attending a CAM camp. Let's give generously to make that dream come true. Will the ushers please come forward to take this morning's collection?
It's
Thank you, Kelly, our impromptu usher. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, the choir and Andrew, for this beautiful music today. Thank you, Diane, our pianist, as well. Thank you so much. Well, I want to personally just thank all of you for the wonderful week that I've had here and my family has had here as well. It's been a long week, but it's been really lovely, and everyone has just been, I would say, on their best behavior, quite frankly, so appreciate that. I just thank you so much for everyone that helped with the worship service here today, from the music to the greeters to the welcome table, hospitality, the room verger and the Zoom vergers, and everyone who made this service possible. Thank you so much for this wonderful week. And I'd like to shout out to the search committee as well, to really just my own person, many of whom shepherd me throughout the week, and I saw them sort of talking behind the scenes and things too. So their work has been so appreciated.
Because of today's meeting, Alyssa will not be at the back for a receiving line. We want to be able to begin the meeting on time as we are able. And now, would you please join as we extinguish the chalice with the words on the screens. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So, however this vote goes today, I just want to say I'm grateful for our time together this week. I'm better for having spent this time with you, and I will cherish the memories of our time together always. Because of this, I'd like to leave you with a blessing. It's the poem Banach, which is a Gaelic word for blessing, by John O'Donohue. So please bear with me, it's a little long, but here we go. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken you in a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the cark of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. And may the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Amen.
Our custom to conclude our services is to stand and join hands and arms across the aisles and sing together our song of peace.